Hey everyone, this is Mason from FilterGrade. Being a streamer on Twitch, Mixer, or YouTube seems nearly effortless if you watch some of the biggest names on the platform, but it took a lot of planning and setup to make every stream look like a high-tier production. There are a lot of software settings that need to be adjusted and a lot of custom graphics that need to be made. In this video, I'll be covering how to get your stream set up in the OBS software so you can start streaming in no time. For starters, download and install OBS. Before setting up any of the stream elements, click on the Settings button and go to the Stream tab. Select the streaming service you're going to be using, then find your stream key in your account for that service, and copy it into OBS. Don't share this code with anyone, because it allows anyone who has it to stream to your account. Next, go to the Output tab. Here is where we can adjust some of the stream quality settings. The first setting is bitrate. This number goes up to 6000 in OBS and determines the video quality. If your hardware can handle it, set this number to 6000. The encoder you choose will depend on the hardware in your computer. Software X264 uses your CPU, which is a good choice if you have a powerful processor with a lot of cores. Hardware encoders will depend on your graphics card brand, but utilize the power of your graphics card to process the stream. If you have some extra headroom in your graphics card performance and your CPU is maxing out, you can use this option. Audio bitrate should also be set as high as possible, but the streaming platform may limit this amount. For the encoder preset, experiment with various options. Ideally, you want to be as slow as possible, but that will negatively impact your CPU usage. If you go to the Video tab, you'll see a base resolution and an output resolution. Your base resolution is the resolution of the screen you're recording, and output is the scaled resolution if you're streaming at a lower resolution. For example, if you have a 1440p resolution monitor, you'll need to downscale to 1080p because that is what the streaming services support. That should be everything in the settings for now, so let's move on to getting the elements of our stream in place. OBS is made up of scenes and sources. Scenes are made up of multiple sources, and you can switch between scenes during your stream. To add a new scene, click the plus sign on the Scenes tab and give it a name. With that scene selected, go into the Sources tab and click the plus sign to add your first source. You'll be presented with a lot of different options, but let's start with the most simple one, Display Capture. This will simply capture whatever is on your desktop screen. Now let's add some games. There are a couple ways to do this. For the first way, you'll need to have the game open on your computer in order to add it. Once the game is open, click the plus sign under the Source tab and then click Game Capture. Name the game, then under Mode, click on Capture Specific Window, then select the window for that game. Or you can select Capture Any Full Screen Window, and OBS should capture your games automatically. However, if it doesn't detect the game automatically, you'll have to use the first method to capture it manually. Why use Game Capture when Display Capture seems to do the same thing? Sometimes a game will only work with Game Capture, although other times it does the opposite. Unfortunately, using Display Capture will cap your game's frame rate to 60, which is the maximum the streaming services can handle. Game Capture will let you utilize your high refresh rate monitor if you have one, while the stream itself will only display at 60 frames per second. But streams are more than just games. To add a webcam, click the plus sign and click Video Capture Device. OBS should automatically detect your webcam, but if not, you can click on the device menu and select it from the list. This will be your first source that you'll want to adjust the size of. Sizing in OBS works similarly to any Adobe program. Just click on the layer and drag the corners or sides to change the size. If you want to warp the layer, hold Shift while resizing. You might want to do this to make your webcam frame fit around your webcam capture. Speaking of which, let's talk about how to add something like a webcam frame. For a still image, this will just be an image source, and for an animated webcam frame, this will be a media source. Just locate the file on your computer and drag around and resize until you're happy with the result. Lastly, you need to set up your microphone. To do this, add a new source and select Audio Input Capture. Then just select your device. To gauge the audio levels of your microphone and your game, the Mixer tab has convenient volume levels. If your audio sources are dipping into the red section, turn them down at the source. If you want to test your audio, you can click the gear symbol next to any audio source and click on Advanced Audio Properties. Then, under Audio Monitoring, you can select to monitor specific sources. Since there's a delay, I wouldn't recommend leaving this on, but it's great for testing. All of the other source types you're unlikely to use right now. The most important parts are getting your game, microphone, and webcam set up. Now, why would you want to create an additional scene? This is useful if you want more screens than only your game. For example, in my stream, I have several other screens. My main full-screen game view, an alternative view with a larger webcam and smaller game screen, a just chatting scene, and then special screens for starting soon and be right back. Setting up a new scene is easy. Click on the plus button, then go into the Sources tab and add all of your sources. If you're adding in a source that you've already added in OBS, you can choose to add that existing source from a list of existing sources of the chosen type. For example, if you want your webcam in 2 different scenes, you can just select from the list of existing sources when adding it to your second scene. You'll notice when clicking around between different scenes, there will be a fade transition between them. To change this to a different transition, go over to the Scene Transitions button, click the plus sign, and you'll be able to add from a small list of other transitions. You can also add your own by selecting a stinger transition and going into its properties. I have an animated stinger transition that I edited in After Effects based on a free template. This makes any stream look more professional and contributes towards your branding. While there are a couple ways to do this, the way I found easiest was to download the WebM encoder for After Effects, which supports transparency in videos and keeps the file size reasonably small so OBS can access and play it easier. Once you have your transition in place, browse for it on your computer. The most important setting after this is the transition point. This is the point at which OBS switches from one scene to the next. This is important because the transition has transparency. Find out how many milliseconds or frames into the transition video file the screen is fully covered by the transition, then set that timestamp as the transition point, so one scene disappears and the next appears seamlessly during the transition. To make the most use of your scenes and scene transitions, you'll probably want to set up some shortcuts, so you don't have to manually click on the scene to change over. Click on Settings and go to Hotkeys. There are an overwhelming amount of options here, but we just want to find each scene and find Switch to Scene at the bottom of the list. You can use any key or combination of keys that you like. For me, I selected the Alt key and then a number, because I'm not likely to hit that key combination while playing games. If you have something like a Stream Deck, you can of course use that to switch between scenes even easier. Now let's move off of OBS and into Streamlabs. Streamlabs is a website that lets you add stream widgets and change your alerts. Streamlabs also exists as an OBS app, so you can combine both OBS and Streamlabs into one. On Streamlabs, you can customize as much as you like, but at the bare minimum, you'll probably want to change some basic things like the animated zombie image that is used for alerts by default. By going into each alert type, you can change the layout, the animation, the message template, and the image used. You can even add custom HTML, CSS, or JavaScript code. The image can also be animated if you'd like to create a custom alert animation. At the top of the screen, you'll see a widget URL for alerts. Copy this and create a new browser source in OBS. Paste in the URL and adjust the dimensions to your liking. With OBS open still, you can click the test buttons on Streamlabs to see what your alert will look and sound like on stream once you save your changes. If you look at other widgets in Streamlabs, you'll see things like a follower goal and a chat box, which all work in the same way by creating a browser source and copying a link. Customize your stream to your liking. Now your stream is almost ready to go. Before getting started, you should check your audio levels. Click the Start Recording button and start playing and talking as if you were actually streaming. Then click Stop Recording and watch the video file to make sure everything looks and sounds like it's supposed to. When you're happy with the result, click the Start Streaming button to begin streaming on your favorite platform. There are plenty of other things you can do for your stream, including chat commands, donations, and adding music sources, but this should be more than enough to get started with your new streaming career. To learn more about the wonderful world of live streaming, check out our blog at FilterGrade.com and let us know if you'd like to see more streaming tutorials from us. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And if you're looking for professional LUTs, Lightroom desktop and mobile presets, Premiere Pro templates, and more photo and video education, visit FilterGrade.com today.